All right, welcome everybody to the Down and Dirty at 1:30 Central, and I'm so glad you're here on this marvelous Monday. I am Vishan Borich. If you haven't met me before, I'm actually Borich Leach now. I'm still getting used to this new name. I've only been married about a month, so so I'm getting used to my new hyphenated name because I have sons from my previous marriage. I didn't want to drop the old name. Anyhow, enough of that. The name of this is the Down and Dirty at 1:30, and I am from Team Tough. If you're not familiar with us or you're just coming on this for the first time, every Monday, weekly, I host this hangout, and the purpose of the hangout is to provide you with extreme value and or inspiration so that you can live a life of freedom. And freedom to me, and that's really why I'm hosting today's hangout, because freedom is such an integral part of my life and my business. So freedom to me means having the time and money, so the time and income, in order to do the things you want to do with who you want to do it with, without having to worry about where the next dollar is coming from. And that may sound like a dream, or that may be a place that you are really hoping to get to, or maybe you're already on that path and you're starting to get to that point where you have freedom, but you just need a little more in order to reach that goal in your life. So I'm doing today's hangout a little bit differently than I normally do my hangouts. Usually I put together this PowerPoint presentation and I give you lots of bullet points and things so you can take notes. Well, today I wanted to specifically just talk to you, just one-on-one, like you're sitting here in my house. I'm in my my office. I have a lower level office in my home, and I want to imagine for a moment that you're right here in my office, and we're just chit-chatting, enjoying our Monday, and I'm somehow helping you to see how you can turn your passions into a freedom business. All right, so that's really what I want to happen today, is to help you get to that point. It does require a little interaction from you. I don't know if you've noticed. If you just logged in, you'll see there's a chat box down below. Go ahead and log into that. It's free to register, and then you can send me a message throughout this. I will be checking it as I do today's presentation, because I'm not going to have my screen flipped around, so I can actually look at that and answer some of the questions or things that you post there. So we're getting interactive today, whole new take on it. So let's get started. So let me pull up, I have notes so I can actually go through some stuff, but you're not gonna see them. So give me a moment here. So today's presentation is how to turn your passion into a freedom business. So I wanted to share a little bit of story, a story from my background as to how I got to the point I am now. So some of you who don't know me, my background originally is in the graphic arts. All right, I went to school, went to college, got a degree in what's called design communication, so that I could become a graphic artist. I've always loved the arts. And I did that right out of college. I was really fortunate. I was able to get a job in the graphic design field. And then I worked my way up as a graphic designer in a newspaper, in a local newspaper. I worked my way up to a senior corporate position, working for a newspaper conglomeration where there was over 52 newspapers across the U.S. And I basically worked on the online side and helped newspapers and those 52 newspapers so that they could make money with online advertising. So that was my background. And from there, although a lot of people would say, wow, that's a lot of success, and I had pretty good income from that business or from working at that job, one of the things that I noticed is the higher I got up the ladder in the corporate world, the less freedom I really had. And I think what I had done is I had bought into that American dream where you go to college, you get your degree, you work for a big corporation, and you keep advancing from a lowly position all the way up to management, and then director, and then partner, and on and on. And I thought that was the path that I wanted to take, but it never was part of my DNA to stay in corporate America. And as stubborn as I was, it took them basically having some mass layoffs in the newspaper industry for me to realize I really needed to get out of there anyway. I don't know if you're in that spot now where you're working for a job or a company and you're just miserable. You're not, you may be making good money, maybe you're not, and you wish you were making more, but you don't know a way out. You don't know how to get out of that situation and really create that time and financial freedom that you desire. And so I want to share my journey and how I got there. And I had mentioned that, freedom and entrepreneurship is kind of part of my DNA. And I say that because my mother, she actually owns her own public relations and marketing firm in Texas. And she started that when I was really young. She always had been really good at writing, journalism, and things like that. But she wasn't making a ton of money when I grew up. And then all of a sudden, she met with a mentor, and she was able to transform her writing into a marketing and public relations firm. And it took her a little while. She was in her 40s when she started it, and now I'm not going to reveal her age, but she's been at it for many, many years now. She still hasn't retired because she loves what she does, and she has one of the top 20 public relations firms in the nation. She's been listed in various publications such as Forbes and things like that. And I've watched her. That's the environment I grew up in. I watched her build something from nothing and turn it into a really big business, and in something that she loves to do. So that's part of my DNA. The other side of it is my father. He owns and runs, he still does it as well because he loves what he does. He owns a dive and ski shop in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, so when he was in his 30s, he realized there was two things he loved to do more than anything in the world. One was go scuba diving, and two was snow skiing. And so he figured out a way to combine those two passions and turn those into a shop. Not only do they sell, all the tools and sporting equipment and goods and retail things that you need to participate in those activities, but he also organizes adventures. So they have dive adventures, they have ski trips. Every March, he takes a whole group of people from the Nashville community to Austria to go snow skiing there. So he's been doing this for years. He's been on television for his business because he's really grown it into a tribe, I'll have you. So that's one of the things that I love is if you really have a passion for something, there are other people out there who have a passion for it as well. And it's just a matter of how can you provide that value back to them and build what we like to call a tribe of like-minded individuals who they want what you have because you're doing what they want to be doing more of. All right, so that kind of gives you a little background and more about the DNA. I have to share this other story because my parents always bring it up, at different family events. When I was really young, I want to say 3 or 4 years old, my father built me a soapbox derby car. Okay, it was very archaic. It just had some lawnmower wheels. It didn't have a motor or anything. It had a little steering wheel, wooden bottom, and it did have a brake, but the brake didn't work really well. But it was pretty cool. I mean, I was the only kid in my neighborhood that had this little soapbox car, and we lived at the top of a cul-de-sac in a neighborhood, and this cul-de-sac was on a hill. All right, so it was pretty good hill for running your soapbox down to the bottom. So here I was, 3 or 4 years old, let's say 4. And I would get on this thing and I would sit on it and push with my feet, and all of a sudden it would just fly down the bottom of the hill. Where we lived in a neighborhood where there was lots of other kids. And so when I got to the bottom of the hill, all these kids were outside playing, they'd see this car and they thought, wow, that's so cool. And they all wanted to try it. Well, I said, sure, you can try it. I said, you pay me $1 and then you help take the car to the top of the hill and then you can go down. So instantly I had a method to, number one, get the car all the way back to the top of the hill. And number two, people were paying me dollars. Well, by the end of the afternoon, here I was, 4 years old, I had about $20 in my hand, which was the most money I'd ever earned, obviously, because you're so little. And my dad comes out and he looks at me and he goes, "What's going on here?" And I said, "Well," I said, "I made $20." And I showed them a fistful of $1 bill. And they chuckled at that. They said, "Entrepreneurship has always been in my blood, but somehow I suppressed that because I thought I needed to follow the American dream of working for somebody else." So I hope you're enjoying these stories. And I want to teach you now, if you have that entrepreneurial DNA, or maybe you're the first of your family and your generation to really have your own business, I want to teach you how to take whatever it is that you love to do and turn that into an online business. So before I do that, I'm going to give a shout out to those of you that are sitting out there watching me live today. So let's see, I've got Charlene. Hey, Charlene. Charlene and I are going to be meeting up in Nashville actually next week. I can't wait to see you again, Charlene. Can't wait to catch up and hear all about the things you've been doing in your life and in your business. And Richard, hey, Richard. Richard's like my most loyal follower. I think he has not missed hardly any of these. So good to see you, Richard. Glad to have you out here, buddy. Oh, Jerry's here. Hey, Jerry Rowe. Glad to see you, girl. Jerry's amazing. She actually lives here in the local area with me, and just an amazing, amazing woman. So I'm so glad that you guys are there. There's a few other viewers who haven't logged in. It says there's 2 others that aren't listed. So whoever you are, glad you're here, and I hope that you're getting value. Be sure to comment down below so that I can, reach out to you and just say hello. Okay. All right. So I bet you're wondering, okay, how do I turn my passions into an online business? So I've got some notes. If I'm looking all over the place, it's not because I'm, not trying to make eye contact with you. It's just I want to stay on topic. So I want to share with you some more stories in order to help you out. So the first thing I want to talk about is one of the businesses that I created in the past year. And this is really just a passion project. And what it is, for some of you who don't know me, I also am a martial artist. I've always enjoyed the martial arts ever since I was really little. I saw some show on television with some martial artists breaking boards and laying on a bed of nails and this, that, and the other. And I thought, that is so cool. One day I want to learn how to do that. Well, sure enough, I've been doing the martial arts now for, gosh, almost 35 years. And it's hard to believe. And in those 35 years, I've also created a martial arts school that I run with my husband here in the Branson, Missouri area. And it's really grown. We have both an adult, youth, teenage, and children's program. And it's been really neat. But one of the passions that I have in the martial arts is I like the traditional side. To me, the martial arts is more than just learning how to beat the tar out of somebody. It's about the holistic approach. It's the mind, it's the body, it's the spirit. It's being a peaceful warrior and spending your time trying to become the best version of yourself, both physically, mentally, spiritually, no matter what your religion is. You should try to grow that portion, that part of you, so that your character speaks louder than words. All right. So to me, that's a true martial art. But one of the things that has always bothered me about the martial arts community as of the past 5 years is that there's been a huge movement towards MMA. And some of you are familiar with that, but it stands for mixed martial arts. And there's a lot of television shows and fights, cage fighting that people do, and they call it the martial arts. And to me, that's not the martial arts. I'm just going to come out and say it. That's barbarian. That's like the old Colosseum with the Romans out there, trying to kill each other. To me, that's not an art. That's a sport. And it's completely different. And I get kind of upset when people call that an art. Even the fact that they use mixed martial art in the word MMA, it upsets me because people get a bad taste in their mouth as to what it is. So I can really get passionate about this. I don't want to get off on the whole martial arts thing too deeply, but I did want to share with you the passion project that I put together. So given that background and how I feel about it, I wanted to create a place to draw other traditionalist martial arts together so that we can share what the martial arts are really about. What are some things that you can learn, whether you are involved in a martial art or not, what are some things that you can learn from other martial artists? And so I formed what's called the Martial Way Network. And the Martial Way is basically following the tenets of mind, body, and spirit within your art. And this network is an internet-based TV show. And we have literally 10,000 people currently from all over the world that are subscribers to our show. And we've been kind of in the off season now. We're about to kick off a brand new season. We're going to have a whole series of shows where we bring in different guests from all walks of life who share tips and tricks from the martial arts, and how you can incorporate that to make your life better. And so this is something I did, but here's where it turned into a business. So really it just was a passion project, but it turned into a business when I started getting phone calls and emails and text from people that are involved in the martial arts, who maybe have martial arts related companies, and they said, hey, I'd like to be a sponsor on your show. What would it cost to run an ad in your live show? I'd like to promote my products. Could I be a guest on your show? So now I've got all of these people lined up, these potential advertisers who want to be on our show, because it's exploded into something much bigger than what my original vision was. Really, I just wanted to get the message out. I didn't even have a revenue stream in mind. I just wanted to get the message out. And so it's grown. And I'm sharing this not to brag or anything. I just want to show you what's possible. So if you have a passion that you really want to do, there's always a way to monetize it. Okay, so I want to give you some other examples that might help you. So one of my good friends, and if you're out there, Tiffany, I'm going to be talking about you a little bit. Tiffany happens to be somebody who I met through my online business that I'm involved in. And Tiffany is pretty cool, and well, she's really cool actually, for a number of reasons. She and her husband, they have a company called the Traveling Dogs. They love dogs. They both joined together because they're good at training dogs. And they've had people hire them to come to their home and teach their dogs and train their dogs. And so that's one thing they do. The other thing that they do is they started these thing called Dog Ventures. And Dog Ventures is a way for other dog lovers in the area, and they're from Canada, other dog lovers to get together and go on hiking trips out in the woods, and then they come back and they sit on the porch and enjoy each other's company. So they have Dog Ventures, but then they also have this thing called Pooches, Pints, and something else. Pooches, Pints, and Porches. That's what it is. Pooches, Pints, and Porches. I thought that was a cute name. And what it is they found that one of the things that people want when they are getting their dog trained is they want a way for their dog to behave so that they can go and hang out with friends and not worry about their dog. They want to be able to know that their dog's going to lay down and heel and do what it's supposed to do while they're enjoying a beer with their friends at a campfire. And that's what they've done. And so they've tied that in, and they've made that into kind of a cult business where they live. So that was pretty cool. But not only that, Tiffany specifically is who I'm talking about here. She loves craft beer. Okay, Tiffany's amazing. She loves craft beer. I'm not a drinker, but she just cracks me up, all the things she gets involved in. Tiffany realized that there's not that many women who are really focused on the craft beer segment, and she likes to travel around and try different craft beers. And so she and her husband, anytime they travel, they go and they try these things out. Well, she started blogging about them and kind of making a journal of these different craft beers that she would try out. Well, it's exploded. I mean, she started doing this. Then there was a craft beer festival that was in a city near her. She was invited to be at this craft beer festival, have her own booth. The name of her group is called the Traveling Pint. And so people came to her, and now she's got other people that have asked her and are willing to pay her to come and speak at their events, talk about craft beer, blog about their beer on her blog site so that they can get some publicity, because her following has exploded. And she laughs about it because she just did it because she likes beer. So I'm just giving you ideas at really the people that are successful take something they love to do and they just start sharing it. Okay, another one. A good friend of mine, and Stephen Moody, if you're on the line, I just want to say shout out to you. He's doing some t-shirts for me. He's a t-shirt printer, screen printer. Stephen's from Montana, and he's also connected to me through the online business that I'm in. Stephen has this amazing screen printing shop out there in Montana, and he does the most beautiful screen printed t-shirts. And he designs the artwork and everything for it. He's been doing the screen printing for a lot of the different conferences I've been attending for quite a while. And he's just the coolest, most loving guy. He kind of has that hippie look. He's got the long hair, long beard, and he's just the coolest guy. Well, anyhow, he has learned through online marketing how he can take his business, and it's called Moody Tees, to market it to a much broader audience. So what he's been doing is every time that he prints somebody's shirt for a conference or mastermind or something like that, he will video the printing process. And he also shares in his videos, how he mixes the colors, some tips when you're choosing t-shirt designs and things like that. So it's value. And what's happened because of that, his business has exploded. I mean, there are so many people who just love what he does, including me, obviously. We have a mastermind coming up next week, and Moody's printing our t-shirts. And so, he's exploded that business all because he's taken something he loves and he's sharing it via the internet and social media to others. All right. So there's another one. So I'm just giving you ideas because those of you that are here, you're thinking, okay, how can I turn my passion into a big business? How can I make it my full-time business? How can I bring in more income? So you're just getting ideas from me today. And I hope you're taking a little bit of notes, or it's getting the creative juices flowing so that you can take this and really explode your own business. Okay. So here's another one for you. Another guy that's part of our tribe, as we like to call it. His name is Justin Varengia. Some of you who are out there have probably heard of him. He is a multiple seven-figure earner within our business. Obviously, income results are not typical, but one of the things that he decided to do was create a podcast. If you're not familiar with podcasting, it's kind of like a radio show, but it's internet-based, all right? And Justin, he's known as the hippie Jedi in our group, which basically means he loves Star Wars. And he used to have really long hair, but not too long ago he cut it off, so now it's all high and tight. But he's still the hippie Jedi to the rest of us. But he decided that, one of the things that entrepreneurs have in common is they all have a little weirdness in them. They're all a little weird. And I think that's a part of being an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to dance to the beat of a different drummer. Okay, so you march to the beat of your own drummer. That's the phrase. And that's what he's done. So what he did with his podcast is he interviews very well-known entrepreneurs all over the world, and he asks them a series of questions like, what's one weird fact about them that they want to share. And then he asks, some of the questions are, what did you do? What are some of the struggles that you went through in order to build this multi-million-dollar business that you own? And what's been cool is that you get to know the personal side of these entrepreneurs. And in turn, his podcast, by the way, is called Weird Entrepreneurs. So be sure to check that out. It's a great show. I've gotten some great tips just for my own business, just by listening to some of the guests that are on his show. So what's cool, though, is that by interviewing other people that are, in his case, much more famous than he is, those folks have put promotions on their own websites that link back to his Weird Entrepreneurs podcast. So his podcast has exploded simply because of all the referrals that he gets from the guests that are on his show. And then I don't know if he's there yet, but one of the goals is obviously to get some advertisers to want to promote that show and have like like an advertisement that comes up either at the beginning or the end of the show to get more business. and that would start helping him to earn money from that show. But not only that, just the fact that he does the show, it drives traffic to him and his business, where people get to know him and how they can join his business. Pretty cool stuff. So these are just a few examples of people that have inspired me to build my own business, right? So with that said, I wanted to give you some specific tips as to how you could start growing a business around your passions. So I've got some notes here I wanted to go through. Hold on, I had some other notes. Oh, there they are. Okay, so number one is you need to decide what you love to do. That's the most important thing. So what I did is I made a list of all the things that I love to do. This is when I was right after I had lost my job due to cutbacks. I just started making a list of all the things that I really enjoy doing. And then I just sat with that list for a while. And I circled, 2 or 3 things that just got me excited. If I could just get out of bed every morning and do those 2 or 3 things every day, it would be the best day ever. And so I circled those things, and one of them, of course, was the martial arts. Another one was anything internet or creative, internet-based, because I love that. And then another one has to do with, working with kids and things like that, which really kind of ties in with my martial arts. And so I figured out through that how to monetize it. Because one of the misconception a lot of people have, and I did as well, like, let me take my karate dojo, my martial arts studio, as an example. Growing up, I was always told, you don't want to make that into a full-time profession. Martial artists don't make much money. Being an instructor at a dojo is not going to pay your bills. You need to have a different type of business to fall back on. Have you ever heard that from anyone? I'm sure you have. I know I definitely did. I heard it a lot. And so it discouraged me from taking that path sooner than I did in my life, because I didn't want to be poor, for lack of a better word. But I learned through a mentor that you can take any passion and turn that into something that can make you a millionaire. I'm not kidding. So let me give you some examples. So here are some things I'm just going to give you a short list of things you might enjoy doing that you could turn into a business. I'm going to give you some ideas as to how you could turn that into a business. So gardening. If you're really good at gardening, you love being involved with flowers and plants, you can definitely turn that into a business. Drinking beer. I know that sounds funny, but look at Tiffany. She turned her passion for beer into a blog. She turned that into speaking engagements, and she's also working on a book, I bet, from what I heard, on different craft beers. So you can turn drinking beer into a business. Okay, yoga. If you love yoga, you could turn that obviously into a yoga studio, but much more than that. And I'm going to give you some ideas in a little bit. Running, cooking, boating, playing pool. A shout out to Charlene. I was thinking of you when I wrote that one down. She's a sharp. Don't ever play her in pool unless you are ready to have your lunch served to you. Massage. Some of you really like massage or massage therapy. Eating healthy. Okay, these are just some ideas to get you going. So how would you turn those passions into a potentially multi-million-dollar business? Well, it all has to do with something called scale. Once you realize what it is you love to do, you need to figure out a way to scale that up, to scale it much bigger than just a local market, to make it more accessible to the masses, to add things to it to make it more valuable to your audience. So, I see Charlene's commenting here. She says, oh yeah, something I've been considering, starting a blog about playing pool. Love you, Charlene. Anyhow, Richard says, thanks for the head up about Charlene. Anyhow, what I wanted to say is when you're looking at your passion, think about scale. How can you scale that up? So, let's take playing pool, since we're on that topic. So let's say that you're really good at playing pool, or you love to do it. Okay, obviously there are pool or billiards clubs and things like that. So maybe you don't have a billiards club in your community and it's something you enjoy doing. You could start one. You could reach out to people, have them pay dues, and start your own billiards club. So that would be one revenue stream. If you're really good, you could also offer lessons. You know, there are people out there who would love to get better at it. So teach them how to do it. You don't have to do lessons in person either. One of the best ways to scale up with a business is to offer lessons virtually or teach something to someone virtually. So you could literally take and do a hangout, kind of like what I'm doing right now, and teach somebody how to shoot trick shots, for example, or how to line up the ball better, you know, or whatever. I don't know a ton about pool. I'm definitely not Charlene's status, but you know, whatever it is that you're really good at doing, teach people how to do that, or maybe just the etiquette of pool. A lot of people don't know common etiquette on how to manage the pool table and manage, you know, a good game. So these are all ideas that you could take. You could also blog about it. You know, there's a lot of people that, believe it or not, that love to play pool. And if you could have a really entertaining blog that shares tips, tricks, funny stories, you know, or things that happen, you know, funny things that happen when you're playing pool, people will eat that up. I'll give you another big tip: storytelling. If you can tell a great story about something that you're passionate about, our brains they are wired for story. The more you can share stories and funny happenings, it doesn't even have to be funny, it could be sad. Just think about movies. You know, we all love to watch movies, right? So think about what makes a good movie. Usually has a hero, has a villain of some kind, you know, has a happy ending, has a sad ending, has an underdog. So when you're telling your story, or stories, if you're running a blog, think about writing a little mini movie about it. So, you know, setting the scene. You know, I was in this dark bar, and this big burly guy came up to me and he said he wanted to shoot pool. And I said, well, I don't know, I'm not that good. And then you take it from there, and then Charlene beats the pants off of him and walks away with $100 richer. So I'm just throwing an idea out there, but you could, Charlene's buying into it as well. She's starting her story in the comments. But yeah, you could start a blog about that, and people love it. They would flock to it and comment on it. And then you may get sponsors who have different equipment for the billiards world. Pool tables, of course, are quite you know, a high ticket item. There's a lot of different companies that sell them. They might want to sponsor your blog. Okay. All right. So, you know, I'm just giving you some ideas. Once you start thinking about scale, think about, you know, are there people you can partner with in order to help get your message out there? You can't do everything in a vacuum. You really do need a village. You need a bunch of people in order to expand whatever it is you're trying to do. For me, like for my Marshall Way Network TV show, I didn't just do it by myself. I decided that I would select different martial artists to be part of my committee on the Marshall Way Network. And I had a very strategic reason for doing that. I knew that if they got on, they were going to attract a different group than if I just got on by myself. And by doing that, when they came on, they promoted it to their group, and I would promote it to my group. So all of a sudden, we're expanding the number of people that are seeing when our next show is going to be. So find good relationships, join your local chamber, join online groups, whatever it takes, in order to dip your foot in there and see how you can get a good partnership formed. Okay, so the second thing, and number one was deciding what you love to do. Number two is, once you've figured out what you really love to do and what you'd love to do every day for the rest of your life if you could, then you need to find a mentor or a coach who's already successfully doing what you want to be doing. There's always going to be at least one person out there that's doing something similar to what you want to do. Don't ask your mom and dad, don't ask your best friend, you know, unless they're really good at what you want to be doing. Find someone that really is good at what you want to do and follow them. Ask them if they'd be willing to mentor you. You may have to pay for their coaching. That's okay, because you want to have that person in your corner to help you to be successful. All right. So find that mentor or coach. The third thing, read and watch everything related to what it is you want to do. There are always going to be books about your subject matter. There's going to be blogs about your subject matter. There's going to be YouTube videos. It doesn't matter what your subject is. I'm sure you can find something out there on the internet or at your local library or bookstore that will give you information about that. Okay, so what I challenge you to do is choose 30 minutes a day where you're going to be educating yourself about what it is that you love to do, because you want to become the very best at whatever it is you love to do. It's so much easier to become the best at what you love to do than becoming the best at something that just pays the bills for you. I'm being brutally honest right now because I've been there. I was one of the very best in the newspaper industry for internet marketing, but I was miserable. I mean, I'm just being honest. Although it was fun at first, it just got to the point where it was a bureaucracy and I wasn't enjoying it. It's not as fun as, when you're doing something that you're just doing it for the money versus doing something because you really truly enjoy it and it excites you and it gets a smile on your face and your eyes and everything when you love what you're doing. All right, so you're going to read, watch, educate yourself for 30 minutes a day. That's step 3. Step 4, know your real message. Okay, you may love pool. I may love the martial arts, but just teaching karate is not my real message. My real message is I want to empower people to have strength and therefore have freedom. You're saying, what? How do you do that with the martial arts? How do you do that with karate? Well, for me, the martial arts is a much bigger thing. It's teaching men and women, children and teenagers, how they can have the self-confidence, how they can protect themselves so that they have the freedom to go where they want, so they have the freedom to travel. Maybe they were afraid to travel before because they were worried about getting mugged. Now they have that freedom. So they have the confidence to stand up and speak in front of other people. Because part of being in my martial arts school is we have them come up and demonstrate certain techniques in front of the whole class. Or we go to tournaments and we have them demonstrate what's called a kata, which is like a series of movements in the karate, kicks, punches, things like that. And they do that in front of a huge audience in a tournament. And in doing that, it builds up their confidence and it allows them to be mentally, physically, emotionally strong and have that ability to speak, that ability to perform, that ability to do well on job interviews, or if they have their own business, to present to other people. And suddenly they have the freedom to be the type of person that they've always wanted to be. So that's the message behind what I do. And in fact, everything I do is related to one thing. It's related to freedom. It's helping people find freedom. And so once you know your message, it really opens things up to more what you can do. Like I also have this internet online marketing business. So through that, I'm empowering people to take their passions and turn it into an online business that works for them overnight. You're probably like, how can it work overnight? Well, let me give you another example. One of the things that I've done is I've taken my martial arts stuff and I've created a blog with it, okay? And with that blog, I have links where people can join my online virtual martial arts school. And I posted videos there and things like that. So there are those who actually go out there and they learn martial arts from my videos. And then they can come back and they can come and meet me. And then we have like a rank test in person. But this is just one way that I'm making money while I sleep. People will buy that program. They're watching the videos that I recorded years ago, and they're taking their life to the next level. And all I had to do was create an online medium for them to be able to do that. Are you seeing where this is going? Okay, I hope so. So once you know your real message, the next step is to look for ways to spread your message as far as possible. That's that scalability, okay? So let me give you some ideas on how you can spread your message once you've found your message. Number one, is there a class that you can teach? Can you do it virtually? Can you have somebody record you, or do you have the recording equipment that you could record a class or teach somebody, or record your computer screen and show somebody how to do what you do? You may not think what you have is very valuable, but you'll be surprised. There are those among us who wish they had the same skills that you have. Like, I wish I knew more about cars. Like Richard's out there. He is like really, really good with Jeeps and fixing them up and making them look amazing. So I wish I knew more how to do that, because I think that's really cool. And so, there are people who want to learn that. If you can teach them how to do it, it's going to take you that much further. Okay. Another thing, if maybe a webinar is not your thing, maybe you're just not comfortable yet being in front of a video camera, you could do the podcasting, like I mentioned earlier with Justin Varengia. Start your own podcast. Set it every day or once a week, or however you want to do it. Record yourself interviewing somebody or just sharing something that you learned in your field. And as you grow, you're going to have the ability to get advertisers for that. Or you can point them to your own local business if you've got one, so that they can purchase things from you. Okay. Another idea, write a book. Now, I'm going to give you a really huge tip on that, because everybody's like, oh, I'm one of these days I'm going to write a book, right? But it seems so daunting because it's a lot of writing. You see these books and you're like, man, it's going to take me like forever. So one of the things that I learned is that you can write a book with your smartphone. And here's how. You take your smartphone, and there's apps out there where it'll record your voice. Just turn it on record and start telling your story. Whatever it is you want to share with somebody, just speak into your phone, record that as a WAV file, and then you go out to a website called Fiverr, Fiverr.com. This would not be a hangout unless I mention Fiverr at least once. Okay, I'm teasing you guys, but it seems like I mention it on every single hangout. When you go to Fiverr, there's people out there that can take your WAV file, your sound recording, and they will transcribe it, and they will write your whole book for you for a little over $5. Amazing, right? You didn't even have to sit and type it out. They will write it. There's even people out there who will edit it. They'll massage it. They'll make it sound better than what you actually spoke into your phone. And on top of that, there's people who will format it for a book publisher. There's people who will write a cover letter for you. There are people out there who will create the artwork for the cover of your book and the spine and the back part of it. Boom, all of a sudden you have a book written, and all you did was speak into your phone. Pretty cool, right? So writing a book, don't ever tell me it's too hard. You can do it if you just sit down and speak into your phone. All right? So there's an idea, and people will buy your book. Or you can use it as what I call a lead magnet, which is a way to get email addresses or contact information for potential customers for your business. You can give away, a short book for free to get that information from them. And then you can start emailing them other things that you have for sale in your business. All right, so a book is another way, maybe a helpful document, an app, a tool, a checklist. There's lots of things that you can put together that your audience would really appreciate. Perhaps you want to have a series of workshops, or perhaps you want to do a group adventure, kind of like what my father does with his diving and skiing. He does this group adventure, and people pay him thousands of dollars to go on this trip. Or maybe you want to do like Tiffany and her husband Bernie, where they have these dog ventures, or they have this meet and greet on their porch with their dogs and beer. So, start thinking outside the box. So I'm just giving you a few ideas. There's so many more I could give you. I was on the phone the other day with a friend of mine, Michelle. And if you're out there, Michelle, hey there, girl. Michelle is an amazing woman when it comes to like grief support and sharing her story. She just a little background on her, and I hope she didn't get too embarrassed by this. But her mother passed away when she was young. And so she's using that and it was from cancer. And so she's using that to educate people about cancer. And she's got some interviews lined up. Excuse me. She's got some interviews lined up in order to meet with book authors that have written grief support books or helpful information about cancer. And in doing that, she's going to promote some other things around those interviews. So this is something that just kind of came up, and it's such a good fit for her because she's so inspiring to hear her story and to hear, these other folks and how they can, create a community of helping others who have lost a parent or lost someone close to them due to the big cancer. So, you can literally take any subject matter that you are passionate about and turn it into a business. Now, is it going to be easy? No, there's always going to be some struggles and obstacles that you meet along your path. That's where it helps to have a mentor that can point you in the right direction and say, okay, here's what you should probably do in this situation. Here's a resource that you should consider if you need help with this. That's why you've got to find people like that just to get your business off the ground. Now, one of the things that I found, and I think Charlene mentioned it, maybe it was you, Richard, blogging is one of the quickest ways that I've found in order to get the word out about what you want to do. Okay, so I and several of the people on this Hangout have a blog. And a blog is a place where you can share what's going on in your life, in your business. You can share information, tips. You can share videos, audios, pictures, etc. The reason I love blogging is because it's a way to get content out there and attract more people than just those that are in your immediate community. You can really scale up with a blog. And the other reason I like it is that blogs allow search engines, well, they get search engines really excited. Like Google loves content that's being updated frequently. And with a blog, when you first start out, I recommend that you put a blog post every single day, at least for 100 days straight. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you do that, something magical is going to happen. You're going to start getting a lot more traffic to your website, to your blog. You're going to start to reach people you didn't know even existed or that were excited about what you're doing. You might even find funding opportunities or advertisers or sponsors that are interested in what you're doing. So if you want to take something to the next level, a blog is a great way to do it. If that's you and you're like, that might be a good idea for me, then go ahead and you'll see there's a link below. It says Join Team Tough. And what that's going to do is going to get you in contact with me where you can join my team, and then you'll get access to a blog, the same blogging platform that I use. Now, if you're here because somebody on this Hangout invited you, make sure you connect with them. Don't click on my link if they invited you. Instead, connect with them and say, hey, I'm really interested in this blog thing that Vashon talked about, and they'll hook you up and get you access to that blog platform as well. All right, so that's about it. I'm looking now to see if there's any questions out there from the group that's on the Hangout that's live. Charlene, Richard, Jerry, you got any questions? Richard, you're funny. He says, sounds complicated. All right, I'll wait just a minute, see what we got. Richard, I see a question you had. Are there still spots open to stay at the mansion? I have one spot left, Richard. If you or somebody you know want to stay at the Nashville mansion next week with me, go ahead and shoot me a private message after this, and I'll get you all the details so we can get you in there. Okay, yeah, it's going to be awesome. We got some really cool things going on. For those of you that are watching, if you live in or near Nashville, or you're planning on visiting there, you always wanted to, I and many of my own team, Team Tough, are going to be in Nashville for a mastermind and conference the 20th, April 20th through the 25th. That's when I'll be there. If you want to meet me personally and you'd like to chat or have coffee or something like that together, send me a private message and we'll see how we can connect. If you'd like to stay at the mansion, unless Richard buys it here in just a minute, there's only one spot left. But we do have tickets if you just want to come to the mastermind. If you're not familiar with what a mastermind is, it's an opportunity for you to learn from like-minded individuals how you can take your business and your life to the next level. So we're going to have some amazing leadership there. I know Charlene is speaking. She is amazing. And we've got a lot of people. Kim Justice is going to be there. Justin Berenja, who I mentioned earlier, said he was going to swing by with his wife Dee. So we're going to have some awesome people there that are sharing their secrets and their tips on how they have grown a business using online technology. Pretty cool. You don't have to be a member of Team Tough to join. You can really join the mastermind from any walk of life, any business, because the stuff we provide you is valuable enough for any business that you want to scale up. So I hope that helps you. I hope you get you excited. If you want details, private message me and I'll get you a link and get you all the details for that mastermind. Okay, I do have a question here that came through from Richard. He says, how many blog sites would you limit doing? You know, it really is up to you as to what you can handle. The biggest thing is consistency, Richard. If you don't think you can post, you know, to multiple blog sites every week, then you've got too many. All right, let's just put it, I'm just be blunt again. For me, I've got 3 blog sites. And honestly, I think I probably should just stick to 2 because 1 is kind of dying. I just don't post to it very often. So I would suggest look at your schedule, look at how long it takes you to blog. And then if you can't post at least once a week, then you've got too many. All right. The other thought is if you know somebody, or there's Fiverr again, you can go out there and find people that'll blog for you on your topic. It's called ghostwriting. And they will write a blog post for you. You can even kind of weed out people that sound like you when they write. So just something to think about for those of you that are like, I don't have time to blog. You can always find somebody that can, and many times it's for much less than you think it'll cost to have somebody do that. All right, any other questions before we close up? All right. Oh, I saw something here that Charlene wrote. She said, mindset is a huge part of shooting pool. And you know what? Mindset is a huge part of any success. So if you are wanting to have success in your life and your business, the first thing is to believe that you are valuable, that you provide great things, that you will be successful, and to believe in what you're doing. If you have that belief, then there's nothing that you can't accomplish. Where we get into trouble is we start second guessing ourselves. We start second guessing who we are and what we have to provide, and that, you know, maybe we're not as valuable. Or my favorite that used to drag me down was, you know, who am I to do it? You know, there are other people who are more successful. Who am I? Who am I to be, you know, as good as they are? I used to say that stuff and it just drug me back. And all of a sudden, I changed that. This was something a mentor took me through this. Instead of saying, who am I to have this kind of success, I started saying, who am I not? Who am I not to have that kind of success? You know, why can't I? I am just as valuable as that other person who's having success. There is nothing different than me. You know, they're not smarter than me. They didn't have better background than me. That's all part of mindset. And I've done some other hangouts on mindset. But if that's something you need some coaching in, get with the person who invited you or connect with me. I do offer personal coaching, and we can see how we can help you work through some of those mindset things that are holding you back from your own success. All right. Well, I think we're to the end. I don't have any more questions that have come through from the live audience. If you're watching this as a recording, hope you have a great day. I'm so glad that you watched this. I'm so glad for my live viewers. Appreciate you. And I hope to see most of you in Nashville. Take care.